All right. Greetings, everybody, and welcome back to the Rocky Mountain Miracle Center Sunday Course in Miracles gathering. Thanks for being here. Thanks for coming out on this beautiful day. Thank you guys for being here online. Lovely to see you all. Let's just take a couple of minutes and just breathe and just allow our minds to actually become present where we are. I know a radical concept, but great thing to do. So if you haven't already, go ahead and close your eyes and just breathe. And just allow your minds to come back home to the present moment now. Let's tune our awareness inward and upward. Let's bring our minds out of the past and out of the future and allow our minds to rest and open in the present moment where we are. And take a breath and feel the peace and the presence and the power that lives in the present moment. And breathe it in. Now, what does it feel like to be present in this moment now? What does that feel like to just be here right now and not somewhere else? What does the present moment feel like? What does it feel like to not be preoccupied with the past or the future? What does it feel like to allow your mind to just rest right now? Trusting the presence and the spirit that abides in the present moment. What does it feel like to trust spirit now? Don't forget to breathe. And breathing, taking a breath allows us to let go of any tension or any stress that we may be holding on to, not even realizing that we've been holding on to stress or fear. Let it go. You are safe now. And I want you to say to yourself silently, I am safe now. Now I want you to say to yourself silently, I rest in God. I am safe. I am complete and healed and whole now and forever. And feel the truth of what you're saying. I am safe now. And the Course in Miracles tells us that we are one self. We are united with our Creator, and we are one with every aspect of creation. And so for just a moment, let us now also feel our one self. See if you can feel the fact that we are connected, that we are not separate from each other, and we are not separate from the source that created us. We're practicing the holy instant where we are present and we experience our connection. Let us practice feeling our oneness with all of life. Let us practice feeling not alone, for we're not alone ever. And we may say that, we may say we're one, and we may say we're connected and we're not alone. But how deeply do we allow ourselves to feel that fact, that eternal truth? So breathe into that awareness, that feeling of our universal and eternal oneness. Feel the fact that you are not alone. You are not on your own. Feel the fact that you are loved and you are love. For a moment, see if you can feel the fact that you are only love. Say to yourself, I am only love. And only love is real. What does that feel like? I am only love, and only love is real. How would you feel if you believed that? How do you think you would feel if you believed that? Feel that. And now I want you to take that feeling of being only love, and I want you to send it around the world. And imagine this feeling, this awareness that only love is real and we are only love. See it surrounding and encompassing all the world, every soul, every creature, every plant, every being on the earth and the earth itself. We are only love, and only love is real, and we are one in that love. And see the world encompassed and radiating in this light that we are, which is love, only love. And breathe it in. Feel the world as in your heart, and then you and the world in the heart of God. Beautiful. This is how we heal. This is how we allow our belief in separation and suffering to be corrected as one. This is how we take our place among the healers of the world. This is our function as miracle workers, is to join our minds as one with all the earth, every living soul. Beautiful. And then begin to bring your awareness back to the room, back to your body, remembering that you can return to this holy, healing relationship within you and without you, anytime, anywhere, for free. And when you're ready, open your eyes and take a breath and come on back. All right. How's it feel to be one? Yeah. All right. Doesn't it feel good? You know, we always talk about being one. We always talk about it. Well, we're one. I'm one with Todd. But how often do we actually sit and feel it? Practice that. Imagine that. Allow ourselves to feel that. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing to say it. It's another thing to go, I feel the love of God within me now. I feel the oneness of love that we are. You know, it's easy to say it, but it's the feeling of it that really does heal that old trauma of that belief that we're separate and alone. We all have this old belief that we're separate and alone, and that's where all of our suffering comes from. That's where all our suffering comes from, is that perception that we're alone and separate, okay? If we knew we weren't alone and separate, we would never be afraid. There'd be nothing to be afraid of. All the fear, all the suffering comes from feeling I'm alone and on my own. If you're alone and you're on your own, you do have every reason to be anxious, okay? But if you're not, then you have every reason to feel at peace and safe anytime, anywhere, no matter what is happening, okay? Just saying. All right. Just saying. Okay. Beautiful.
I could look at you through that white light.
There's a white light? You mean this? Right here, you're looking?
Oh, it's flipped.
Oh,
I needed us.
okay. You don't need that. Okay, but then I can't see you.
Oh,
So-
so you can't see us. Is that new?
No, it's the same. Usually it's just right here, but it was just too much in the way.
Oh.
So, all right. You know what? Maybe I don't need it. So, all right. Okay. You want to just grab it? Thank you. It'll pull out. Just bottom. Thank you. All right, guys.
Didn't mean to be a trouble with me.
That's okay.
You were there and.
You know, yeah, you could. Yeah, why don't you point it at me and then, there we go. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
That works.
Thank you so much. You guys are so helpful. It looks better too on the camera. All right. Well, guys, would you like to talk about relationships without limits today?
Why not?
You're like, I don't believe it's possible anyway, so why not? What the heck is that? Relationships without limits. Come on. What is that? Well, we are going to be if you have the blue book, it is chapter 15, section 9, and it's called The Holy Instant and Special Relationships. Okay. But in the original dictation, the title is Relationships Without Limits. You can see why they changed it. Because everybody be like, oh, that's not possible. close the book.
Relationship without.
Exactly. Relationships without limits. That doesn't sound safe, does it? Isn't that interesting? You hear a relationship without limits and you think that doesn't sound safe at all.
Chapter 15, section 9.
Is it 9 or let me see what it is actually. Oh, that's what it is. Holy instant and attraction of God. All right. Yes. But so we're going to talk about in this section, it talks about relationships without limits. It also talks about God's attraction for you. Did you know that God is attracted to you? Today, not today. I mean, maybe when I'm, dressed up a little more, but yeah, this section, I don't know if we'll get to it, but it talks about God's attraction to you. That's something have you ever heard that phrase? God is attracted to you. I'm going to see if I can find the line before we go into it, but it's just hilarious. He says, in the holy instant, when you allow your perception of somebody to go beyond their body, where you see their light, he says, you will experience God's attraction to you. I was like, okay. Phrase we've never heard. Another phrase, relationships without limits. Okay. So we're going to talk about how to experience relationships without limits. Another way of saying relationships without limits is a real relationship. So a real relationship is a relationship where you are not limiting somebody to their body or to their ego. Okay. So when you're beholding somebody, you're not limiting what you see in them to what their body looks like, what their body's doing, their behavior, what their body has done in the past. You're not limiting your perception of them to their body, which is the same as saying to their ego. Okay. The course is saying, we have no idea what other people look like. Like, what would somebody look like if you weren't seeing their body or their ego? Heck if I know. Well, according to this, what you would see is great rays of light that are coming from them that are so great that they're shining all the way to God. That's what you would see. So I guess that means we really haven't seen anybody for who they really are yet. So, if you saw someone for who they really were, you'd be like, whoa, wow. And the Course says you would scarcely be able to refrain from kneeling at their feet in gratitude if you really saw who they are. Now, so I know that's pretty deep, huh? Now, and then the Course in Miracles says that the way that happens is not that you're on drugs. It's that you want to. It comes from a willingness. It comes from, do I want to see them as not a body? Do I want to see them sinless? Do I want to see them as innocent? Do I want to see them for who they really are? Or am I getting such satisfaction from seeing their body and their ego that I don't even want to try to see them for who they really are? Okay, so that's the question. Okay, so does everybody have it in the book? Okay, here we go. As the ego would limit your perception of everybody to their bodies, so the Holy Spirit, your loving right mind, would release your vision, which means let you see the great rays shining from them so unlimited that those great rays reach to God. That's what you would see. If what? If you weren't limiting your perception of others to their body. Wow. Good to know. So what everybody really looks like is great rays of light. What everybody, as example, Greg. Thank you, Greg, for demonstrating that. Greg, I see your great raise, honey.
Thank you, baby.
Yeah.
You're putting up some-
I need some shades.
They're putting up some pretty nice raises.
Oh, well, thank you. Okay. Now, it is this shift in vision that is accomplished in the holy instant. So unless you're seeing somebody is shining and radiating real bright, so bright that you're like, that need to put on some shades, then you know you are not seeing who they really are. You are not seeing correctly. You are only seeing their body. You are only seeing their ego. So just know that. If you're not seeing them as bright and shiny and lit and radiant, you're not seeing who they really are. Okay? So don't fool yourself. Be like, well, you know, but you are a jerk, but I love you. You know. It's like, I see you for who you are, and I accept you anyway. I see who you are, but I accept you anyway. No, you didn't see them. You haven't accepted them unless you are seeing them as bright, with innocence, shining, radiance, beautiful, gorgeous, with light shining. Okay. That's how everybody really looks in reality. Okay. Now, and it says, but this is what you see in the holy instant. And what is the holy instant? It's when you're not limiting your perception of somebody else to their body, which is the same as saying to their ego. Okay. Then it says, but this is what you'll see if you're looking at them from the holy instant. But it is needful for you to learn just what this shift entails, from seeing their body and their ego to seeing their radiance. Why? So that you will become willing to make this perception of them permanent. Because, and given this willingness to make your perception of their radiance permanent, then this perception of their radiance will not leave you, because their radiance is permanent. So their radiance is permanent. That is the permanent truth about them. Isn't that deep? And that makes me happy to hear about myself, that the way I permanently look, without makeup, with makeup, without makeup, no matter what time you see me, the way I really look permanently is radiant. Radiant. And radiant means beautiful. Beautiful doesn't mean your body looks like this. Radiant, beautiful means radiant. You know, when you see somebody and they're radiant, it don't matter what their body looks like, you see them as beautiful. That's what beautiful really means. It means radiant. It means when somebody's looking at you, they perceive the light in you, which is the same as saying, you know, your innocence is always radiant. You know, you think about a little child and you see their innocence, you know, it has this radiance. You know, children have a radiance to them. So then it says, okay, now it says that we've got to learn what this shift in perception entails so we can make it permanent. So how do I go from seeing people as their egos and their bodies, which makes me anxious and afraid and angry, okay? Because then all I'm seeing is differences, which make me feel afraid and anxious, to seeing their radiance, their true inner beauty. What is entailed in that shift? Well, it says we got to talk about what we got to learn to make that shift in perception. Because once you have accepted this perception as the only perception that you want, I only want to see their radiance, then this perception of their radiance will be translated into knowledge by the part that God himself plays in the atonement, the healing plan of man. Because this is the only step that God understands, okay? So, wow. So once I have decided that all I want to see is people's radiance, their beauty, their true beauty, not their body, not their ego, not their behavior, not their past. Once I have made that decision, and I've accepted that as that's all I want to see, then my perception of their radiance will be translated into knowledge. I will know they are the light. I will know they are only love. I will know they are only the light of love. I'll know that. It won't be like, I see the light in you. It'll be like, oh, you are the light. My perception of your radiance will be translated into the knowledge that that is really all you are. Okay. And that's what knowledge is. Knowledge is, I know that's all you are. Okay. Perception is, oh, I see the light in you. So see the difference? One is, I see the light in you. One is like, I know that's all you are. Right. And that is the knowledge that sets us free. Okay. All right. And it says, therefore, in this shift in perception, there will be no delay when you are ready for it. Now, God is ready now, but you are not, obviously. I love the author's little like side comments, like God's ready, but you're not, obviously. All right. And so paragraph 2, our task then is but to continue as fast as possible the necessary process of looking straight at all that interferes with this perception and seeing all that interferes exactly as it is. Now, why do we have to do that? Why do we got to look at all that keeps us from seeing the light in each other? Why do we have to look at it exactly as it is? Because it's impossible to recognize as wholly without gratification what you think you want. Okay, so saying that for us to be able to look at others and see beyond their egos and see beyond their body and see the divine radiance in them that would make us ecstatic to see it, we have got to look straight at everything that's keeping us from seeing that. And it says in here in the original, we got to look straight at all that interferes with it, and the all is underlined. And we've got to look at all that interferes with that perception, and we've got to see it as exactly what it is. So what is it that is interfering with me seeing you, not as your body, not as your ego, but seeing you as the divine radiance that you are, that would make me happy and heal me to see it? Okay. We've got to look straight at it. If we want to be able to see that divine radiance, those great rays that really are there, that is really the permanent perception, the permanent truth about everybody. Yes.
This is getting me really uncomfortable.
All right. Thank you for sharing this, getting you uncomfortable.
When we look straight at the ego and we see Christ, that's when we got it. But, well, sure, yeah, but.
Okay. Yeah, but.
What is seeing Christ from?
Yeah. Okay, but, yeah. What's the but? Give me the yes buts.
I see the Christ in the eyes as a rule because it's in front of me and it's easier than trying to see this other, whatever. So if I'm looking at the eyes, am I still seeing? Am I doing it right or not?
The goal here first, before we even try to look for the light, this says we got to look at what it is that we're looking at besides that, and why, and look at why. Okay. So once you've looked at the interference, it says our task is but to continue as fast as possible the necessary process of looking straight at all that interferes with it and seeing it as exactly what it is. So yeah, and that's basically it. It's the grievances. What is it that makes me what is it that makes me want to see them as their body and their ego? What is it that makes me not motivated to be like, I really want to see them for who they really are. I want to see the great rays shining from them. What is it I want to see instead other than that? What is it I want to see instead and why? Okay. And says that's what we got to look at. Why is it that I don't want to see their light and I do want to see their ego and their body and their past and their behavior? That's what I want to look at. Why is that? Okay.
We want to put all our guilt on them.
Thank you. Give that girl a gold star.
What did she say?
Because I want to put all my guilt onto them. Right. Because we are wanting to project our own ego, trying to get rid of what we don't like in ourselves, thinking that we can do that. Okay. All right. So then it says, we've got to do this because it's impossible to recognize as wholly without gratification what we think we want. So we've got to look at that, the body. The body is what we think offers us gratification. So the reason I don't want to see the light is because I believe that it's their body that can give me something that I want. And I haven't realized yet that the body can't give me anything that I really want. What their body does, what their body says, what their body has, what I can get from their body does not bring me gratification. I haven't accepted that yet. I'm still thinking if they would change their behavior, I'd be happy. I'm still thinking if their body said the right thing, I'd be happy. But is that true? If they changed and said what you wanted them to say, would you be happy? What'd you say?
I wouldn't even trust it.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell me what I want to hear.
Thank you. Even if somebody said to you what you wanted them to say, you'd be like, oh, you're just saying that. So literally, we're looking at the body and focusing on their body and their behavior, thinking that it's the body that gratifies us. And that's why we think that their body can gratify us in some way, shape, or form. We don't realize that only by seeing them as they really are, the light, the love is permanent, only that can, make us happy. But we've got to look at the body and how we think that it's the body that's going to make us happy. And we've got to look at that exactly as that is. That's a necessary step. So, because until we look at the body and realize it doesn't matter what their body does or what their behavior does, it doesn't matter. Even if they're like, I will do everything you want me to do all the time. I will be your little slave. Whatever you want me to be, whatever you want me to do, I'll do it.
Yes.
So he's like, where do you get somebody to say that? You get somebody to say that at the beginning of the relationship.
Right.
That's when somebody says that. I'll be whatever you want me to be. I'll do whatever you want me to do. But you know what happened. You know what happens there, right? And so we need to look at that. We need to see that no matter what their body does or says, has, or whatever, it does not bring gratification. But we're not wanting to look beyond their body or their ego because we still believe that is the body, their body doing or saying something, acting a certain way that will make us happy. Okay, but we have to look, that's the interference. I still believe the body is valuable for what it offers. I still believe the body is valuable for what it offers. He says we got to look at the interferences. What is it that's interfering with my willingness and desire to see the light and the love that people really are? It's because I'm looking at the body, because I believe the body's valuable for what it offers. But is it really, if no matter what it does, says, has, or has been, doesn't make you happy? Wow. Okay, well, that's the first interference.
I just want to clarify that one of my confusions is that I believe that happiness and gratitude and all of those good things are transitory.
Thank you.
I accept
Thank
put
you.
a limit on just acknowledging that, I can be happy today and doing this,
Right.
and not expect it to last.
Right.
I've just accepted that.
Yes. Right.
And the course is trying to get us to accept the idea that gratification and happiness and joy can be eternally experienced.
Exactly. through
I
seeing.
have no freaking concept. of what that
Exactly.
means.
That's right. Exactly. This saying that the light and the love and the joy that you see and experience when you see them for who they really are, that's the only permanent thing, right? And what comes from the body and the ego, that doesn't bring anything that's permanent, doesn't bring anything joyous, and it doesn't bring permanent joy for sure. But yeah, we don't think about well, the only thing that brings permanent joy is seeing each other as we really are. Vision, Course calls it vision. Having vision of reality, of who we really are, that is what brings permanent joy, lasting joy. Not what you have, not what you get, nothing you experience through the body, nothing you get with the body, nothing the body has, nothing their body does, nothing you get from their body, nothing of the body. And that's our first interference with the belief that the body's valuable for what it offers is our first interference with seeing the vision of the radiance and the beauty of others, the joy that brings. That's the first interference, okay? Okay, great. Now it's going to talk about the body, okay? Our favorite topic, the body, okay? Something we should all be able to relate to, okay? I cannot relate to the great rays that are shining from you, but I can totally relate to the body. Now, it says the body is the symbol of the ego. That's what the body is. The body is the symbol of the ego. And just like the ego is the symbol of the separation. And both the ego and the body are nothing more than attempts to limit communication. That's what the ego and the body are, to limit communication and thereby to make communication impossible. Our communication with source, our communication with everything that is, our communication with each other, okay? That is the purpose of the ego and the body, so that we won't experience the fact that we are in unlimited, eternal communication with our source, with each other, with all of life, all the time. That's the purpose of the ego and the body, to limit our communication so that I will not know that I am in communication with the source of everything, with the source of all knowledge. Did you know you're in communication with the source of all knowledge? That's better than ChatGPT.
Wait a minute.
I'm sorry. That's even better than Grok. That's all of them put together. I mean, come on. Wait a minute. I am in communication with all of creation and the source of all creation. I am in communication with everyone and everything, the source of all knowledge, the source of all creation. I'm in communication. We are in communication with that. But the ego and the body, its purpose was to make us think we were shut off. So that now if we want to communicate or we want some information or knowledge, we got to go to ChatGPT, or we got to go, pay somebody. But that's the purpose of the ego and the body, to limit communication and to make it impossible. Wow. Because communication must be unlimited in order to have meaning. So unless communication is unlimited, then communication doesn't really have any meaning. So have you ever been in a relationship where the communication was limited? Anyone?
Yeah.
Of Course in Miracles says that means that was an unreal relationship. And if you're in a relationship where there are like some things you can't talk about, or you really can't talk about much, you can't talk about this, or you don't have good communication. We've all had those relationships, right? Where communication was very limited. They only want to talk about certain things, That the Course in Miracles says If the communication is limited, then the communication does not have meaning. And if the communication is limited, he says that the communication will not satisfy you completely. So wherever you have limited communication, well, there's some things we can't talk about, blah, blah, limited communication, that is a relationship that has no meaning and will not satisfy you completely. And we all know that. How do you feel in a relationship where you cannot communicate completely?
Right.
How do you feel? You feel unsatisfied. You feel stifled. You feel censored. You feel like, well, it's not really it's not a real relationship.
I can't be really me.
I can't be really me. I can't really be myself because the communication is limited. You know, I can't fully communicate with them, but I also can't communicate with anybody else either because they might be upset.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And not only just in our relationships with each other, but our relationship with our source. You know, we've made our relationship with our source unreal. We don't have full communication with our creator. Do you tell your creator everything? You should. Not like it doesn't already know everything, but you know, our natural state, heaven, our natural state is to be in full communication with our creator and with everything that our creator created one with us. That's our natural state. Is to be in. God created us to have a relationship with us. God created us because God wanted to be in communication with us. God didn't create us and then to never hear from us again.
Then go away.
Exactly. I created you, go on, you know. You know, God created us, God extended us to that we would be in constant eternal communication with God. That's what it means to be in a real relationship. You're one. You're in constant communication. And so God created us because God wanted to be in constant communication with us, but we don't communicate with God. We hide from God and each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why our communication doesn't have any meaning. And then it goes on to say, yet unlimited communication remains the only means by which you can establish real relationships. So we're not experiencing a real relationship with our creator. We're not experiencing a real relationship with each other. And that's why we are dissatisfied. You know, and we think that our dissatisfaction is coming because of something their body is doing wrong or not enough of or not good enough. We think that our dissatisfaction has something to do with their bodies, what their body did, what their body said, what their body something, or our own bodies. That's what we think our dissatisfaction is coming from. Not that we're not in full communication with each other and with our source.
So the number one mental health identified situation across the United States is chronic loneliness, which is attached to disconnection from society.
Exactly.
And so what you're saying is because we're limiting our communication, we're limiting our ability to connect.
Exactly.
And so that greater communication would reduce the loneliness.
Exactly. It's exactly right. You know, when you're not in communication, real communication with others, what are you gonna feel except for lonely? Mm-hmm. Even if you're in a relationship, but the communication isn't satisfying, you still feel lonely. Even if you're with another body and you live under the roof, or you're around a lot of bodies, if there's not real communication, which means unlimited communication, you are going to feel lonely. You're going to feel alone, even if the bodies are together, which again, we all have experienced that. We've all experienced being in relationships where we were with another person's body, but we weren't communicating and we felt lonely. You know, and for me, being in those relationships, I felt lonelier with that person than I did being by myself, you know. And so the truth is that we were created to be in communication with our Creator. And truly, there is no limit on our communication with our Creator, with all of life, which means there is no reason for any second ever that we should feel lonely.
Right.
Ever. We are never alone. Ever. But we often feel alone. And that's not just because we're, not in a relationship, or we're in a relationship where there isn't communication, but it's just we're not in the communication that we were created by. Of course, it says we were created by communication and for communication. So, and if we're not in communication, then we're not going to be experiencing the happiness that only comes from knowing that you're connected. Like Carla was saying, the number one problem that then manifests as all the other problems is disconnection, loneliness. Yes.
So, of course, says our body is our communication device.
Yes.
So as I'm listening to you, I'm always listening to what someone might be asking. And I could hear someone who's introverted saying, I hate talking that much. Communication doesn't
Yes, it is. It's exactly right. Exactly. Communication has nothing to do with talking. It's the awareness of connection. It's the awareness of connection. And it's the act of communicating with something and someone that beyond the body. Whether you're communicating with someone beyond their body, or you're communicating with your source, who obviously doesn't have a body. And the Course in Miracles says, even though the body was made to limit communication, now we've allowed our bodies to be given a new purpose, and that is to be a communication device. So they weren't made as communication devices, they were made to limit communication. But now Spirit can take anything that we have made for limited communication, and now the one purpose given by love for our bodies is that they be a communication device. Now the purpose of the body is to communicate with other people who think they are a body, to remind them that they are not their bodies. That's what the only real and loving and healthy purpose of the body is now. Is to use your body to communicate to other people who think they are their bodies, to remind them they are not their bodies, to remind them they are still in communication with their source and with all of creation. That means whenever you are afraid, whenever you feel a lack, whenever you feel guilty, all you need do is communicate. Is to reach out beyond your body, beyond the bodies of others, to communicate to one who is with you, one with you beyond the body. And there are no limit, whether that's spirit or God or angels or beings, friends and family who are not in their bodies anymore. The answer to all lack and loneliness is to communicate, right? To reach out beyond your body, to communicate, whether that's to people who are in bodies or beings who are not in their bodies. But that's what it's about. What does it say? The communication is the only basis on which real relationships can be experienced. Okay. Any other questions before I go on? All right.
Just want
Yes.
to make a comment that the kind of communication that the Course is talking implies giving and receiving, a flow. It has to be bi-direction or universally directed, including back to me.
Right.
Because this point came to me because there have been times when I have been distraught because some situation didn't work out to my satisfaction. That I felt I was praying and communicating, but I never felt more alone.
Right.
I wasn't receiving,
Mhm.
I wasn't open to receiving,
Mhm.
the truth.
Mhm.
And I was just seeing it, the situation through my blinders.
Mhm. Yeah.
So my experience was a very one-way communication.
Mhm. Right. Yes, that's because you were trying to communicate with an ego. But the course talks about how that when you communicate with source, with God, with the universe, it is impossible that you be not heard and responded to. And then the Course in Miracles talks about when you're communicating with other people, the most satisfying communication is when you communicate to their higher selves. Now, when you're communicating to their higher selves, which means beyond their bodies, then you are having successful communication. But we think of communication as, that I say something to them, their body, their ego, and they respond the way I want them to.
I wasn't clear. I was actually talking about praying to God.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
But because in my distress and my desperation in the moment, I didn't feel
right.
You didn't feel it.
Yes.
To me.
Yes, that's right.
I can accept now in this moment
right.
that the answer was given to me.
Yes, right.
But because I was putting up my own
right.
blocks
To communication.
receiving it, I was in fact limiting communication.
Yes,
to,
right.
Only being willing to hear what I wanted to.
Exactly. Which usually had something to do with the body.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, or something form. Yeah.
But my point is that the communication has to be a one. I have to be willing to receive.
Yes.
The communication back.
Right.
The answer back.
Right.
Be willing to do that in order for the communication to flow.
Right. But the Course does say you are answered and heard whether you realize it or not.
Right.
So you can't communicate with God without a response. Now, you may not recognize that or want it because it's not coming in the form you wanted it in, but you can't extend that communication to source without God responding in kind. Okay, beautiful. Okay. Yes.
In a nutshell, communication is like prayer.
Yes.
Because we're communicating with our source.
Yes.
We're getting an answer from our source. We're heard and accepted and understood by the source. So this out here is illusion.
Yes, exactly. You are being heard and answered whether you realize it or not. And when you are ready, like it said, God is ready, but you're not. And when you're ready, then you will receive and perceive, the answer. Okay. And the Course does say that prayer is communication also.
There we go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, so where I used to go to ask for things in prayer, now I go to experience communication. Now I go to talk to God instead of like, God, can you do my to-do list for me, please? Here, God, here's my wish list for the week. Right. Okay. So now we're in paragraph 3. We're going to talk about real relationships. It says real relationships have no limits. Why? Because those relationships have been established by God. Now, in the holy instant, what's the holy instant? That's an instant where the great rays replace the body in awareness, in recognition of relationships without limits is given you. Okay. So the holy instant is when the radiance of the person you're thinking of, when another person's radiance replaces your awareness of their body and their ego. That's a holy instant. When your awareness, your decision, your desire goes past their body, past their ego to who they really are as a radiant being of light. Okay, that's a holy instant. And it says that, and that is That's the real relationship without limits. When you're relating to somebody as not their body, not their ego, and now there's not a block on the communication because you're not relating to them as their ego, as their body, now you're experiencing a real relationship. That's what it means to have a real relationship, is a relationship with no limits, meaning you're not limiting your awareness of them to their body and to their ego. That's a real relationship. Wow. Okay. So obviously we don't have very many real relationships. But notice that a real relationship is something that happens in that holy instant. So in my relationships, I have instants where we're experiencing a real relationship. Okay.
It's funny that you say it that way, because I was sitting here remembering that many of the times that we've gotten together to pray and meditate together, for example, and those are very transcendental
Yes,
experiences.
exactly. Yes.
Those are the times when we're in pure communication.
Yes.
And they're delicious.
They're incredible.
They're not 24/7, 365.
Exactly. They are very gratifying, but they're not permanent yet, So notice I was saying real relationships have no limits, and then immediately says holy instance. Holy instance. So right now, what we're doing is we're practicing holy instance, where we are practicing experiencing a real relationship, where we take the limits off of our communication with each other, because we stop relating to each other as their ego and their body. And then we have a holy instant, and we get to experience a real relationship. And like Carla said, the experience, you're having a real relationship because it is gratifying. It's satisfying. Okay? That's how you're having a holy instant of a real relationship, because you're like, ooh, this feels so good. This feels so good. It's satisfying. It's gratifying, as opposed to the unholy instant or the special relationship, the limited relationship. Gratification and satisfaction is not what you're experiencing. What are you experiencing? Grievances, dissatisfaction. If you were different, I'd be happy. Okay, that's the contrast to the holy instant, the real relationship, the relationship without limits. You're experiencing gratification, satisfaction, okay, not grievance. Okay, okay, great. So then it says, but to see the divine radiance of another person instead of their body and their ego, it is necessary to give up every use your ego has for the body, and to accept the fact that the ego has no purpose that you would share with it. Wow. So to have a real relationship, a relationship without limits, to have a holy instant, that means in that instant that it says that I'm going to give up all the use that my ego was using their body and my body for. Okay, so in that instant, what had I been using their ego and their body for? Oh, well, to get specialness, to be right, to get, in the holy instant, the relationship without limits, you're not using the body for ego purposes for an instant. For an instant, I'm not going to use their body or mine for ego purposes for one instant. One instant, that doesn't sound like it would be too difficult, right? For one instant, I'm going to drop all my ego's getting purposes relative to their body and my body. I'm going to drop that for an instant. And that whatever purpose my ego has, I don't share that purpose. Whatever my ego wanted to get from this encounter, whatever my ego wanted to get from this person's body, whatever my ego wanted to get for me, I drop that. I let that go. for just an instant. There's your holy instant. There's the instant where you're going to have an unlimited relationship with them, where you're going to get to experience who they really are in all their divine radiance, which will blow you away and will satisfy you, gratify you in that moment. Wow. So that's what holy instant is. I'm going to drop all the purposes my ego has for this person's body and mine. And I'm going to be present with this body and try to see them as the radiant, beautiful child of God that they really are. That's a holy instant. And that's a real relationship. Now, and imagine having that holy instant extend such that you're having all kinds of real relationships with people, where your purpose for being in relationship with them has nothing to do with what your body or your ego is going to get from their body or their ego. Imagine that. And imagine being in relationships where they're not in the relationship with you for their ego to get something from your body and from your ego. Imagine what those relationships would feel like. What would it feel like to be in relationships like that, where they're with you not because of what their body can get from your body, what your ego can do for their ego. They're with you because they see you, and to them, you are the most beautiful, bright, brilliant light they've ever seen. And it makes them happy just to see who you really are. Can you imagine being in a relationship like that?
No.
No. Thank you. That's an honest answer.
Yes, I think I'm being led to this.
Yes, that's what we're being led to.
It's driving
The
down,
first part is you hear about it without believing it.
I was driving down Smith Road and I stopped at a gas station. I looked at the price of the gas and it didn't occur to me that it was high.
Mm-hmm.
And I filled the car and I went in and I had a holy instant with this gentleman behind the counter. And I went away was thinking, and then later, I just not knowing, just went away not knowing. And then I looked at the receipt and I went, oh my God, the fancy. And I realized that I was allowed to see that price as reasonable in my mind because that was the place I was supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't see the raise, but maybe he did.
Mm-hmm.
All I know is he was alone and it seemed like he was lonely.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm being led there a little at a time.
Yes.
So that I can then open my eyes in the same instant.
That's right. And that's exactly what, this is how we're being led to this kind of relationship. The first step is you hear about it and you go, oh, sure. Right. Haha. That's for somebody else, but you keep listening, and you say to yourself, I don't know how to have a relationship like that, but I'd like to. And Spirit, show me how. I'm willing. I'd like to experience that. Spirit, show me how. And this is what we're being shown here, how to experience that. Like, am I willing to drop all the purposes my ego would be, all the things my ego would want to get out of this encounter? Can for a moment I drop all that? And instead of going into it to get something from me, going into that like, I think I'd like to see this person as who they really are.
We were having this conversation last night that we have to unlearn our belief in the value of drama.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about if we wrote a book where a family came together and the entire story, everything just went fine. Oh yeah. There was no drama, there was no fight.
Nobody would read it.
No one would buy the book.
Exactly.
Right? Because we have become so attached to the belief that, that the drama, that the conflict is what creates value.
Yes.
And so in order to open ourselves through communication, in order to open ourselves to a community that collaborates from the heart, we have to be willing to give up our addiction to the drama that brings interest.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. When we're bored, we go find somebody who's full of their ego, and because we're bored. That's a purpose for relationship that the ego has. I'm bored, and so let me go hang out with some, focus on other people's egos, right? For entertainment. These are purposes that the ego has. He says, for the holy instant, to have this holy instant or this real relationship, it's necessary to give up every use the ego has for the body. So what are the uses my ego's been using their body? Entertainment, distraction, I get to focus on them and their errors, their egos, which makes me feel better about myself by comparison. That's one purpose the ego's been using for other people's bodies and egos, other relationships. And so this is how we have a holy instant. And this is also how we have real relationships. And so the real relationships comes from a holy instant. So it starts in a holy instant. Let me just do it right now. Let me see if I can do it for one instant. And then, that felt good. Maybe I could do that more. Okay, well then eventually, then we will begin to have relationships as we see the gratifying, satisfying nature of the holy instant, where we drop all of our ego's purposes in a moment for them, then we're like, I would like to experience that more. So then we begin having relationships that last longer, whose stated purpose is that. And then we attract people who also want that kind of relationship. So we are being taught, we're being led to this, we're being taught how to experience the real relationships that we all desire, which is a relationship where we feel free to be ourselves. We feel seen for the being of light and love that we really are, and we're having unlimited communication, and we're being desired, wanted, not for what our body can offer, but for who we are. Okay. And if you want to have a relationship like that, where somebody wants to be with you because of who you are, then it starts with you dropping your ego purposes for your relationship, for the people you're in relationship with, dropping those ego expectations, right? And giving them the gift of, I just want to be with you because I appreciate who you are. You're beautiful. You're bright. Who you are is radiant, is loving and lovable. So that's what we're learning how to experience. Yes.
I just want to clarify, I guess, what I'm thinking right now to make sure that I'm thinking really when we love someone, we expect something in return, right?
Correct.
I say, if I text you,
yes.
I miss you, I
yes.
expect you to write back.
That's
too.
Yes, right.
But real love would be me just saying.
That's right.
Without expecting that.
That's correct.
Trusting that you still do, and that maybe that text will come some other time.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be fed immediately. Or
yes, exactly. Only the ego needs to get back something it gave. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Your right mind, your sane mind, is giving because it makes it happy. Your right mind knows that giving love is what makes one happy. Yeah. Love doesn't come like because I gave to you and then you gave back to me, so now I'm having love. Happiness is not something that it's like, well, I gave to you, you give back to me, now I'm happy. That's not real happiness. Happiness is something that comes from within, from knowing who and what you are. And then it doesn't matter who sees it and appreciates it, wants it, gives it back. It doesn't matter, because that's not the source of the happiness. The source of the happiness is internal. The peace is internal. Real love is internal. It starts here and it radiates out for free. So dropping the purpose, what does it say? So dropping the purpose, giving up every use the ego has for the body, is included in that is that I get back what I gave. Their body is the expectation. Their body will give me back what I gave. That is a use the ego has for the body. That's a use we've given to other people's bodies. You're going to give me back what I gave. And if your body doesn't give me back what I gave, well, then
You don't get any more.
thank you. Okay, but that's not a real relationship. Yeah.
With the exception, like Matt was saying, when we do our prayer work,
Mhm.
we should be open to
Yes.
see
Yes.
response.
Exactly.
Our soul.
Right. Exactly. But notice what happens when we do go and we pray to God and we're like, God, here's my prayer. And then we're like, okay, God, I'm waiting.
Right.
You know, like then we have an expectation of God's body, you know. It's like, okay, God, I asked, you know,
Where's my sign?
where's my sign? Where's my answer? You know, and, you know, so.
I don't know if it applies, but when I was doing prayer work at Mile High in the practitioner class, we were taught steps of prayer.
Mhm.
And I added a fifth step, I think it was. I'm not sure how many steps they were. But I called it my disclaimer step.
Mhm.
And it had to do with, I know it is done
Mhm.
as I have spoken it, or bigger, greater, or more so,
Mhm.
in perfect divine timing.
Mhm.
And then I had 2 or 3 more.
Mhm. Okay.
And I think that kept me
Mhm.
from expecting back,
You're right. Mhm.
or even wondering about what the ramifications
Yes.
were of that prayer.
Exactly. Every time there's an expectation, it always involves the body. You know, if you've got an expectation that somebody's going to give you back, it always has something to do with the body. Their body would say thank you, or their body would give back in kind, or you know, it has something to do. So anytime there's an expectation, it has something to do with the body. But love only gives. Real love only gives. And when you could also say real relationships, they only give love. You know, that doesn't mean that you sacrifice. It means that real love only gives. Real love doesn't take. Love is never like, okay, now I did this, and so you need to do that. That's only the ego. And that is what the ego is using the body for, is to get back. Okay. But love only gives, love never takes. Okay. That doesn't mean that's not talking about, you know, you be the martyr. I only give and I don't expect it. You know, that's not what we're talking about here. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You know, if you truly were in a state of love and you were giving love because it, you know, for your own happiness, then you know, you would never then you wouldn't be called, you know, you wouldn't be called upon to sacrifice. You wouldn't be giving to those who didn't really want that, you know. Yes.
Oh, I just was gonna say, this is where there also is a country music song for everything. It's kind of that, thank God for unanswered prayers.
Oh, yes.
And that if I'm doing a prayer supplication, like I want this,
Yes.
and I'm maybe not gonna get this,
Mm,
then thank you, God.
yes, exactly.
And I need to put it out there and then okay.
Exactly, exactly. But you know, when we're asking or praying for something with an expectation, then we're literally setting up disappointment, because how often do you actually get what you asked for exactly in the form that you were asking for it? So, you know, you're setting up for yourself a grievance, or, you know, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, so if you want to have a holy instant that is wholly satisfying and gratifying, it means that you would give up every use your ego has for their body in that moment. Okay, so that, and then that's a holy instant, and that's also the content of a real relationship. Okay, now, because the ego wants to limit everyone to their body for the ego's purposes. That's all the ego wants. You're a body, and the only value you have is what you can do for me. That's the ego. It's the ego. It's everybody's ego. That's all the ego wants in any relationship, whether it be a holy encounter or a long-term relationship. All the ego wants is to see other people as their bodies and to use their body for its purposes. Isn't that cold? But that is the nature of the ego. So if you are using them for your ego purposes, that's what the relationship's going to be about. It's going to be about, what have you done for me lately? What can your body do for me? My ego. Okay. That's all. What does it say? It says the ego does limit everyone to a body for the ego's purposes. And so while you think the ego has a purpose, you will choose to utilize the means, the body, which the ego tries to turn its purpose into accomplishment. Well, as long as you think the ego is real, you're going to think the body is real, and you're going to think the body will work for that purpose, the ego's purpose. Now, the ego's purpose will never be accomplished. The ego's purpose. I want everybody to be limited to their body, and I want their body to do whatever my ego wants them to do. You know, that will never be accomplished. It will never be that your purpose, it can be limited to my ego's purpose. It can never be that that's your purpose. And it can never be that you could be satisfied using other people's bodies, seeing other people as bodies for your ego's own purposes. That will never satisfy you. It will never make you happy. It will never give you the real relationship that you desire with all your heart. You know, it will never work to make you happy. The only thing that will ever work to give you the relationships that you desire and that will satisfy you is to release them from the limits, from the demands that your ego would put on their bodies. That's the only way, is to set them free. That's why the Course says love is freedom. And that means to release other people from the limits you would put on them for the ego purposes your ego would use of their body for. That is the only thing that is real love. And that's the only thing that makes relationships that are real, that can really satisfy you. Releasing them from the demands your ego would make on their bodies and on their egos. That's what it means to say love is freedom. I'm going to stop using your body for the purposes of my ego, what my ego wants. Because all my ego wants is to get. That's it. That's all my ego wants, just to get. You know, my ego doesn't want to give. Now it's going to pretend like it does, right? But that's what it really means to love somebody, is to release them from the demands that your ego would make on their body to satisfy your ego. But we call it love.
I love you, so I'm going to release every expectation I have on you.
Yes, exactly. That's what real love is. I'm going to release you from all of my ego's demands and expectations that your body should do this or be this in this way for my ego's satisfaction. P.S. the ego who never can be satisfied. I'm going to put these demands on you so that you would satisfy my ego, which can never be satisfied.
In reality, I don't even love myself that way.
Exactly. And we're also putting those kinds of limits on ourselves. You know, that's why we all hate our bodies. Because we put these expectations on our bodies. Body, you need to look like this. Bodies, you need to accomplish this by certain times.
I look in the mirror and see ego some days. And I look in the mirror and I see God some days. And I'm starting to realize when I'm looking at ego. If the shade is wrong and then I say, oh, that's ego when I walk. So this morning I have this vortex in the back.
How in the world did you see that?
I gotta get rid of this.
This vortex. I thought that's what people were trying to have, a vortex in the back of their head.
That's what I said this morning. This is very holy. I don't have to get rid of it. I'm serious. This is
That's
going
good.
on. This
Yeah.
is an ongoing thing.
Yes, right, exactly. So yeah, so we're not only are we doing that to other people's bodies, but we're also doing it to our own bodies, where we're putting these limits and expectations on our own body that, you know, like my body needs to look like this and accomplish this and have this by this certain time for me to be happy, and what does that result in? Unhappiness. However it goes, even if my body did all those things, I'm still not happy because the ego cannot be happy. The ego cannot be satisfied. And if we are still following the ego, using the ego, following the ego, then no matter what anybody does, we're not going to be happy. And we're not going to have, it doesn't matter what they do. But we have lost the opportunity to have a real relationship that does make us happy, that is satisfying. We're losing that opportunity by the delusion that if your body will just act and look and do and behave like this for me, then I'll be happy. You're losing the opportunity to have that relationship, whether it's a long one or a short one, that's 100% satisfying, gratifying, real happiness, lasting happiness. All right, yes.
I just love that you said that. That's what the course is talking about, no private thoughts. Because when you're saying that, and then there's an openness for I keep joining. And I had the same morning today.
Yeah. I'm having one right now. Yes.
And I'm not the only one who
Yeah.
has that and saying yes it is.
Yeah.
You have that and we're connected.
Yeah.
And then it's like spirit contact.
Yes.
Hello, you are one.
Exactly. Thank you. Yeah.
We all have vortexes.
Yes, I definitely had, I'm having that myself, where I myself am having to desire to see myself beyond my body, beyond my ego, so that I can experience my own great rays, my own divine radiance, and experience the self-love, the joy, the relationship with the real relationship with myself. So that's what we're all going to. All right, so let's go ahead and stop here for today. And the whole section is amazing. If you get a chance, finish it. It's just beautiful and chock full of miracles. And so it's going to do the love offering, a couple of announcements, and then maybe a couple minute integration meditation. And then Greg has put pizzas in the oven for us. Okay. All right. So while we're doing the love offering, and thank you for your love offerings. Thank you so much for sharing your abundance with the Miracle Center. Thank you for supporting it. Thank you for helping it to grow and be resuscitated, as Matt said last week, resurrected from COVID. Thank you. And thank you guys online. And if you guys online would like to support the Miracle Center, then you can go to the Rocky Mountain Miracle Center website, and there's a donation button. And thank you for that. Thank you for supporting this center in being a place where people can come and hear the Course in Miracles ideas, share in them, and extend them to the world. So thank you for all that. Yes.
Is anyone teaching on Monday night? The woman back here that didn't come in wanted to know when I started.
Oh, no.
Zoom.
Yes, my Monday class is online.
Okay.
But Greg and I are starting a Course in Miracles class here Sundays at 5:30, starting like on the 28th. So there will be a evening Course in Miracles class starting on Sundays.
But it's not couples, it's any.
It's just Course in Miracles. It's just Course in Miracles. But, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'll chat with her. Yeah. So, and then I do a Monday class online, but yes,
I didn't think there was anything live.
Yeah, there will be starting on the 28th. So starting Sunday, the 28th, there will be, Greg and I will be doing our Transforming Relationships Through A Course in Miracles, and it's relationships with everyone. So we're all in relationships. So it's just a Course in Miracles class that we're going to apply to everyone and everything. And that's starting the 28th at 5:30 here in person, and it will be online as well. Okay, and then you have some messages.
So today is our board meeting, but it's an open Q&A. So next month, a full month from now, so October 12th, I believe it is, the second Sunday, is our annual meeting. And that is where we go before the whole membership, what's happened in the last year, what we need membership to vote on, etc. And we do have several things for that meeting. In order to be part of that meeting, you have to be a member of Rocky Mountain Miracle Center. Guests or not, don't participate in that. So first of all, if you'd like to be part of the vision of Rocky Mountain Miracle Center and how it grows, and you're not currently a member, membership forms are out there, or head up Anna and I, we can find out for you. We'd love to have everyone here contributing to the vision of the Rocky Mountain Miracle Center.
Yes.
I say all that to say that today, though, at the end of our business meeting, we're doing an open Q&A that anyone, member or not, can participate in. So if things are going on around here, or you'd like to know what's going on around here, we invite you to that. The business meeting starts at 1:30, basically after our connection here. Probably will go till 3:50.
Yeah. Absolutely. And if you're not a member, please join us and help evolve and grow the Miracle Center. We really appreciate it.
And there's no charge.
And there's no charge.
We charge some people.
No.
With vortexes.
Only people with vortexes on their heads. I love it. Oh. All right. Okay, you guys. And then the first Saturday of the month, Dr. Carla and I do a Course in Miracles play shop, where we get together, we spend a day talking about the Course in Miracles truth and playing it, using it, applying it, using it in games and processes. And so if you're looking to join in deeper community with the Rocky Mountain Miracle Center community, or just looking to deepen your understanding or your practice of A Course in Miracles, it's a great experience, very affordable, sliding scale starting at 33 and going to 66. So very easy. That's the first Saturday of the month here in person at the Rocky Mountain Miracle Center. We'd love to have you. And it includes lunch. 10 a.m. to 3:30, the first Saturday of the month. Hi, Heather. Sweetie. All right. So let's just do a couple of minutes of an integration meditation, and then we'll go on to have some snacks. All right. So close your eyes if you can, and just breathe. And just notice how you feel right now. Just notice how you feel having heard these ideas. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Spirit, for bringing us together. Thank you. for giving us the opportunity to join together today to hear these ideas that heal us, that connect us, that remind us that we're not alone. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, God, for these loving and healing ideas that we find in A Course in Miracles, that you have given to us through A Course in Miracles. And thank you, Spirit, for showing us how we can have the relationships that we've always desired in our heart of hearts, relationships that are truly satisfying and gratifying, relationships that entail no sacrifice, relationships that demand no limits, relationships that are freeing us to be who we really are as radiant, beautiful, innocent, loving, lovable children of God. Thank you for showing us and teaching us how to have real and loving and freeing and satisfying relationships with everyone and with everything and with our source. Thank you, thank you, thank you for that gift, Spirit. And Spirit, help us to desire more, to have real relationships where we release others from the demands our egos would make on them. Help us to release all of our relationships from the demands that our egos would put on them. Please help us to do that. We desire to have real relationships, the real relationship like the one you have formed with us. That's what we desire. Teach us how to have a real relationship with everyone and everything like we have with you, God. And to that we say, amen. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for being here. Yay for us. Yay for truth. This sets us free. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you.
What do you call that book that you read out of?